I die today, I'ma go and get some money. If I die today, I'ma go and get some money. If I die today, if I die today.
Cold flows for a cold mind, see a new world, but I'm so blind. Kick rocks when your time's up, better start digging like a coal mine. Cold heart, seen cold times, it's a bold move, but the sunshine raise up when you...
Good morning, Ada family. It's your boy Satoshi Boomin coming at you with yet another video, guys. I'm so excited to start talking to you today, guys, about Cardano. We're gonna go over the Charles Hoskinson Fox Business appearance. Amazing appearance. Said everything that he needed to say on Fox Business to that broad audience. So we're very, very proud of Charles Hoskinson. I'm gonna keep chopping wood, guys. Like, there's nothing changed here. If you take a look at my previous video that we did, we talked a little bit about how prices might be going down a little bit, but again, not changing what I'm doing. We're gonna continue to buy more and more and more crypto. So thank you to our wonderful Patreon subscribers: Leon Jackson, C Vel, Angelatopia, CryptoSVET.si, Kyle Bocci, FAIRUZ Den, Anthony Andrews, and Maryland for crypto, guys. Let's continue to chop wood. Let's continue to work, and we will get to where we need to get to. There he is. There's Charles here, looking nice with his fresh fade. You know what I'm saying? Fresh lineup. I like it. I like it. He's looking like a billionaire. So let's see what he has to say. He's going to explain a little bit about blockchain technology, why it's important, and why crypto is necessary. Let's take a look.
CEO and Cardano founder Charles Hoskinson.
Before we do that, let me just double.
IO Global is the company behind Cardano, the world's most advanced blockchain. Charles, great to have you. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me on.
So tell me about Input Output, your company, and what you've been able to do in terms of the blockchain. I want to get to how it's solving crises and what you're doing to address it. But first, tell us about the business.
Sure. So I've been in the space since 2011, and back in those days, nobody cared about cryptocurrency. We were a very small club. We all kind of knew each other. And we've seen tremendous growth.
And you bought it at $1.
Oh, well, I was there before $1. We were mining and trading these things. But, you know, back then, you trade on, like, Reddit and Bitcoin Talk and these things. But back in those days, we were just trying to solve the problem of email for money. So we just wanted to be able to send value to people easily and without counterparty risk. And then what happened is people said, well, that's a great idea, but we want programmability. It's kind of like when JavaScript came to the web browser, then you got Facebook and YouTube and Amazon, all these rich experiences. So in 2013, I helped co-found Ethereum, and there we had smart contracts, and then suddenly we could do crowd sales, and we could do NFTs and DEXs and all these things that you see today that are very exciting. But the problem with those technologies is they don't really scale. So when you start adding lots of users and you want to have a truly global system with millions, eventually billions, and solve real financial problems, whether it be microfinance in Africa or remittances in El Salvador, or it be global trade or ESG compliance, these types of things, you just simply don't have the technology to do that at the scale of millions to billions of people. So what I did in 2015 is I took a step back and I said, all right, let's start a company and do first principles research.
So what he's basically saying there is Bitcoin allowed us to transfer value from one place to another instantaneously and without an intermediary. So if I had $100,000, okay, and I want to send that to my friend in Russia, let's just say I had a friend in Russia. I don't have a friend in Russia, but if I had a friend in Russia, I wanted to send that $100,000 to them, oh boy, there would be, it probably wouldn't get there for months with all the oversight and how many people need to look at the transaction. The bank's going to be calling me talking about, hey, are you sure you want to send this money over there? You know, it's very blah, blah, blah. You know, you'll get an alert on your phone. You know, you need to meet with the bank manager and all that garbage just to send the money you made with your blood, sweat, and tears to somebody else in a country that may not be convenient to the country that you reside in. So Bitcoin aims to solve that, transferring value from one place to another without the intermediary. Well, with that comes more. People always want more. It's not just good enough to have a car. You need a different type of car. You need a faster car. You need a more spacious car. People always want more. And with Bitcoin, you know, you couldn't do smart contracts. You couldn't do crowd sales. You couldn't do NFTs with the Bitcoin of the 2011s. You can do some of that stuff now, with side chains and such. But what Charles is saying, the second generation is Ethereum. With Ethereum, it could do everything Bitcoin could do, transfer value from one place to another in a decentralized non-intermediary way. And not only that, allows you to program the money, creating NFTs, crowd sales, DEXs, decentralized exchange, getting yield on your crypto. All that stuff, that's generation 2. And what he's going to explain is generation 3, which is Cardano, which I always say on this show if you've been paying attention. Cardano is an amalgamation of Bitcoin and Ethereum combined together to scale to the masses. All right, so let's take a listen.
So we opened up labs everywhere, one in Tokyo at Tokyo Tech, one at University of Wyoming, University of Edinburgh, Athens, because I like the food, these types of things. And we wrote 135 papers, mostly peer-reviewed, and we kind of built out the scientific backend, the scientific layer of the industry. And then we took those papers and transformed them into high-assurance code, the same type of code used for jets and for rockets and these things, code that can't fail. And we created a protocol called Cardano, and launched it in 2017. It's been up since then, and we now have 3.5 million users all across the world, from Ethiopia and Burundi and Kenya all the way to the United States.
What an incredibly successful story, and an incredibly success story at Cardano. But let me ask you about blockchain in general.
Sure.
What can blockchain do for global business, and what areas do you think the blockchain is going to be most effective?
So anywhere where you have a consortium of actors who have to work together, who don't necessarily trust each other but need to work together for the market to form, is where blockchain is best at. So it can be a voting system. And you ask who counts the votes. It can be a supply chain system. You say who audits that to make sure it's ESG compliant or whatever your goal happens to be. It could be a medical record system. Let's say you get in a skiing accident in Aspen. How does the doctor up there get your medical records if you're unconscious or something? So these are simple problems to state, but in collection, because of globalization or because of lack of trust, they're hard to solve. And usually we solve them by having a central institution, some bank or some body, and say, okay, they're in charge. But by being in charge, they have enormous influence. We saw this with social media, for example. They control speech in certain cases. So what you can do with blockchain is remove that central party and then basically have a common logic, and they all can work in a decentralized way instead. And that's what our industry's been slowly doing. And we started in finance. That was kind of the first application. And now we're looking at everything: healthcare, communication, telecommunications, all these different marketplaces.
Well, I mean, you just said, I think, what's one of the key words, and that is slowly. Do you worry that international economies are faster in terms of coming up with the regulatory boundaries, in terms of coming up with usages, that it's kept getting away from the United States?
Well, that's an interesting question. So we have seen a global trend where the status of the dollar as the world reserve currency, because we print so much money and because of recent political events, it has diminished quite a bit. But it's not like what happened when the British went to the American standard, where it would go from the U.S. to the Chinese standard. There's a global desire to move to a transnational standard that's not controlled by just one nation. And nobody really wants, in the Western world, the Chinese standard to replace us. So blockchain is another example of a compromise solution. If you can't have another empire take over, can you have a transnational framework which is decentralized and no one actor has control over it, that has fair rules for everybody, and everybody's treated equally and no one can be left out of that order?
Before you go, I got to ask you a little about crypto, because you are also the co-founder of Ethereum. Tell me about Ethereum versus Bitcoin versus others. I mean, what should we understand about these different cryptos? Why did you create Ethereum? Yeah,
so there are generations. And so the Bitcoin was great. The problem with Bitcoin is that it can only do a limited set of things. You can kind of push value around, but there's no programmability there. That's why I use the example of the web. Before JavaScript came, you could build these beautiful websites, but you couldn't interact with them. You could just read the text, you could just see the pictures. And then when JavaScript came, then you could program them and interact with them. That's where YouTube came from and Facebook came from and so forth. So similarly with Ethereum, we added smart contract support. Then you had programmable money. You could issue your own money, you could build your own financial applications, and they don't require a bank or an intermediary. With Cardano, we just kind of took those concepts and then we said, how do we make them scale? How do we make them interoperable with the wider financial world? And how do we add governance layers into the system so that you can kind of figure out how to advance the system and evolve the system? And it's a
excellent work by Charles here, guys. He killed it. Shout out to him, man. Let's continue to work hard. I agree with everything that he said. And, you know, this is what crypto's really about. Not about price, not about that garbage that people try to feed you, especially on YouTube and Twitter. Not about win moon. It's about, again, decentralizing, taking control over your money and being your own bank. Guys, everybody's included. There's no accredited investor laws in crypto. All right. There's nobody saying, oh, you're too poor to invest in this. You can't do it. It's only available for the rich. No. Anybody can get a loan in crypto. Anybody can participate in crypto. No matter your race, creed, background, your gender. It doesn't matter. As long as you're a human being with a functioning brain, you can participate in crypto. And that's what's the key. That's what the goal is. So, shout out to Charles. I loved it. Let's move on. Thank you to OneCom, ticker symbol 1COMM. Guys, you know the drill. Go ahead and delegate your crypto to OneCom this instant. Do it now, guys. They need to get the delegators up. I want to see 200 delegators. Can we get to 200 delegators, please? Thank you to OneCom, guys. They are amazing OGs of the show. Always here for us on the show here. So we're going to be here for them. Go ahead. Delegate now. OneCom now. Go ahead, guys. Support small stake pool operators. Follow them on Twitter for Cardano news, notes, and updates. Let's move on. Whales are buying Cardano. Of course they are, guys. If you look on YouTube, if you look on Google, if you look on Twitter, you're going to hear all doom and gloom garbage, guys. I'm telling you this right now. I'm telling you what I know. I've been around the block a couple times, guys, and this stuff is a cycle. Prices are going down. They've been stagnant. Now, all of a sudden, everybody's bearish. Now, all of a sudden, you know, Cardano's not going to $5 anymore. Nothing like that. Nobody don't want to hear that no more. A couple years ago, oh, that was all the rage. Now, that's all done. Everybody's done picked up and moved on to the next big thing. I wonder what the next big thing is. What is it? Dave Chappelle getting attacked? Are they going to talk about that ad nauseum for many months, or is it still Amber Heard's poop? I don't know. All right, but what I do know is that whales are buying Cardano right now, okay? And they keep on buying Cardano, whether the prices go up or the prices go down, guys. Whales accumulate 196 million ADA in the past 5 weeks. Duh. Like, this seems like news to people, but it ain't news to me. Of course they're buying ADA. Why wouldn't they buy ADA? Nothing fundamentally has changed with ADA. It's just the overall macro ecosystem. The hype has died down, which is a perfect time for me to buy. All right, guys. So ADA goes on to talk about how cryptos have plummeted, blah, blah, blah. Whales are making massive purchases, guys. Cardano whales holding between 1 million and 10 million have steadily racked up more ADA in the past 5 weeks. Of course they have, guys, because when people sell, when the retail investors sell, when the retail investors don't care anymore, that's when we come in, and that's when we, as whales, I'm not a whale, I'm a jellyfish or whatever that rich list thing is. I don't know what it is, a shell, I don't know. But we'll take a look at that at a later date. But the point is that when nobody cares about that crap anymore, guess what? That's when the whales come in and buy. As we can see this, guys, look at this. ADA whales dumping or whatever. Yeah, they're dumping because, you know, prices are down. And now they're accumulating again. No crap. Who would have thought? Whales manipulating the market. Whales taking advantage of FUD. So I'm just letting you know, guys, we're going to keep working, keep buying ADA. Ain't nothing changed on this channel. That's all I really got for you today, guys. I wanted to go over that video here, talk a little bit about whales moving, whales keeping, buying crypto. Stay strong, stay 10 toes down, guys. If you're feeling a little discouraged, if this is stressing you out to the point where you can't sleep and you're just looking at your crypto every single day, then maybe it's time to get out, bro. Maybe you do need to sell. Maybe it ain't for you. All right, that's all I gotta say. I love you guys so much. Don't let your means be dreams, guys. Go ahead and hit the Patreon link down below. Leon Jackson, C Vel, Angelatopia, CryptoSVET.si, Kyle Bocci, FAIRUZ Den, Anthony Andrews, and Marilyn for crypto. Thank you so much for sponsoring the channel. I love you guys. Take care. Bye.